us through the time. There was going to be a video, but we skipped the video in the interest of time. So I'm totally lost as to the synchronization. Yeah, somebody's happy because they want to go and play golf or do something else. So this is one of the highlights of each edition of Sintra, and it is the Young Economist Prize. It has been a great pleasure to have all the 10 finalists. I think the 10 finalists should be joining me, shouldn't they? Because if I say thank you to them, they should be around. So come, please. Shared with us your research. Many of us in the audience, highly qualified and respected academics, governors, and experts of all kinds, have actually been impressed by your presentation, by the depth of the work that you did, and by the clarity with which you've explained it to us. So thank you so much for having done that, and congratulations, because as you know, there are 10 of you. One will have the prize. But think about the other 70 who are pre-qualified to also be amongst the finalists and who have not made it. So you are really the la crème de la crème on this occasion, and you should be very proud of that. But of course, a jury was at work. And the jury was composed of Jordi Galli, Hélène Ray, Jiri Slachalek, and Isabel von Stinkist, as well as Philip Hartzman. So all of them have worked hard, have read all your papers, have scratched their head to decide exactly who was the best and who should be the finalist. You have to know that they had to go back, skipped lunch for most of them, and had a special session to finally decide which one would be the prize winner. And that speaks to the quality of the work that you have done altogether. But one of them has to be selected, as the jury said. Jury took note also of the votes that we all registered, and it was with some trepidation that they decided that this Young Economist Prize, who is 10,000 euros and a trophy that will be presented to me in a microsecond. Thank you for the trophy. Thank you. That I announced that the winner, and I would like to ask you to step forward as I mention your name, is Svetlana Nenova. Please step out. Congratulations. For those of you who don't remember her presentation, Svetlana is a PhD student at the London Business School, and she has produced a paper named Global or Regional Safe Assets, Evidence from Bond Substitution Patterns. She provides novel empirical evidence on the portfolio rebalancing of mutual funds in international bond markets and on monetary policy spillovers around the globe and across euro area countries. This work provides valuable insight about the transmission of monetary policy and sets an excellent example for young scholars to do highly policy-relevant work using European data. Warmest congratulations to you. If you don't mind coming to receive your award. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President. It's quite a heavy one here. Thank you. Thank you for this award to the President, to the selection committee, to anybody who voted for my paper or just stopped by to talk to me at the poster. Thank you very much. I'm very deeply honored and also quite surprised given the amazing competition. I'd like to thank everybody who's guided me on during my research journey. And I want to also say that this project was very much motivated by what I saw in financial markets following the global financial crisis, what I saw in European sovereign debt markets during the crisis after that in Europe, there was an increase in market fragmentation, and we didn't. I thought with more granular data, international data, both on Europe and the US, I could fill this gap to some degree by understanding how this market fragmentation arises and to be able to track it a bit better. So I'm glad that this has has done a full circle and is now useful to policymakers as well. And I think really this is my takeaway from the conference here is really that the reward for us all is that we can kind of see very tangibly what are the policy implications and what is the usefulness to society of what we have spent many years working on by ourselves. So I think that's a reward for us all. And please join me in a round of applause for everybody for all the finalists.
So you can stay here on the podium. I'm just going to say a few words by way of closing, because this is now the last few minutes before you are released and you can go and do something else. So I simply want to thank all participants in that conference. And I have to say that you've identified very beautifully the relationship between the academic work and the drawing from that academic world that policymakers can actually benefit from. And it's not so often the case all the time that policymakers can, in a spirit of congenial, convivial, and occasionally consensual, not always, can actually compare notes, share views, pick the brain of those who spend a lot of their time thinking about the decisions that we have to make on a regular basis, sometimes not always with the benefit of the deep research and the deep analytical work that is done by many of you in this room. So thank you very much for that. I thought that the conference actually provided a great opportunity to consider the past, to analyze the present, and to plan for the future. And incidentally, Lesece, where are you? Lesece, there you are. My first G20 actually was in South Africa. It was not a leaders summit, it was a finance ministers summit about 15 years ago. And you were the doers from that G20 groups. So the items that you've identified,
Bueno, pues estamos escuchando a la presidenta del Banco Central Europeo en esas closing remarks, en esas palabras finales de...
Now we need to just act upon it and take it further. And it's not just for the benefit of having good control of the system, but it's also for the benefit of all those who are paying massive fees and commissions on the remittance from developed to soon to be as developed countries. So when I look at all the papers and the contributions that we've had the benefit of, when I look at this past bucket, if you will, you've helped us analyzing and dissecting the main feature of past policy cycles and identifying the drivers of the inflation surge in the post-COVID environment. Okay, we will continue debating probably for long as to whether it is demand or whether it is supply or whether it is a bit of both and which one of the two prevailed over the other. And some of us might even say, look, it was just so big anyway that it didn't really matter.
Bueno, pues estamos escuchando a Christine Lagarde, de momento haciendo referencia a esos trabajos presentados por esos jóvenes talentos. Dice que son trabajos hechos con un análisis que a veces el BCE no tiene tiempo de poder realizar. Además, también dice Christine Lagarde que hay veces donde no se consiguen llegar a acuerdos o a decisiones con el consenso que a ella le gustaría. Eso lo ha dicho la presidenta del Banco Central Europeo. Vamos a seguir escuchando estas palabras finales del encuentro de Sintra, como siempre organizado por el Banco Central Europeo.
Some will do it. Turning now to the present, you helped us identify what are the lessons from the past for current policy and how to think today about the natural interest rate role in the current environment. And I don't know if John is still around. Claudio is certainly still there, and Stephanie and I can't see all of them. Yes, there you are, both of you. Thank you very much, under the leadership of Philippe, for helping us with trying to sort out exactly how it can help and how we can try to identify the gender of angels with a level of certainty that will take us to the star. Thank you, Claudio, for this remembrance. We have the same in French, by the way. Le sexe des anges. I think you've also helped us identify what are the risks to the financial system. The last panel was certainly a case in point. And one panel that was a little bit unusual, probably under the guidance of Isabel, was the way in which geopolitical fragmentation, geopolitical development, political development actually matter enormously and can raise issues going forward for all of us policymakers. As to the future, I know some of you will debate for long as to whether this paper on biodiversity and the natural capital was relevant or not, or whether we were going way beyond what is the natural remit of central banks. I think that is the beauty of this kind of conferences, to actually step out and move into the future. And I think history will judge. And I bet you that in 10 years' time, we're celebrating, by the way, the 10th anniversary of Sintra. But in 10 years' time, if some of you are still around, I won't, for that matter, because we have, terms that are very finite. Some of you will actually be surprised that these kind of research and work is actually critically important and should not be treated casually, including by central bankers, but that's another matter that we can debate further. Improvement of productivity, the role of artificial intelligence, all of that was also brought into a sort of projecting into the future what the impact will be. And for all of that, again, thank you so much. We will take it like bees pick up the flowers that you are in order to make honeys. We understand that pollination is important. Sorry. No, I am focused on price stability and obsessed with it, rest assured. So before we all go away to other things, before we have dinner tonight all together, I would like to recognize a number of people, and sometimes I will just mention categories. So first of all, I would like to thank all members of staff of the ECB who have worked long and hard to make that conference a success. And for those of you who only think about those who have produced research, who have harnessed the intellectual capital of the contributors, it's not just that, it's critically important, but it's also who plans for lunch, how do you organize the ways.
Bueno, pues terminando ya esa última comparecencia de Lagarde en Sintra, está haciendo referencia también a muchos estudios que se han presentado en el marco del foro de Sintra. Por ejemplo, estudios sobre la biodiversidad, que ella misma también, reflexiona sobre si es necesario que un Banco Central se meta en esos jaleos o no es necesario meterse en esos asuntos. Dice que para eso está Sintra, para poder poner en valor todo eso y poder decidir qué debe hacer o en qué se debe centrar el Banco Central Europeo. Ha hablado incluso también de la polinización, de lo importante que es, haciendo una referencia como un símil, ¿no?, a lo que hacían estos jóvenes talentos, y ha dicho, de todas maneras, quiero dejar claro que estoy obsesionada con la estabilidad de los precios, porque daba la sensación de que se estaba yendo un poco por las ramas Christine Lagarde, centrándose en otros asuntos. Ella ha insistido ahora en tono algo más de broma sobre el hecho de que ella está muy, muy centrada, dice incluso obsesionada con la estabilidad de los precios. Por lo tanto, la Lagarde más relacionada con la política monetaria y el mandato del BCE, hoy en estas últimas palabras insiste en todo ello. Vamos a seguir escuchándola porque parece que está ya a punto de terminar.
Is our UK colleagues, because some of them have a little business to conduct tomorrow. It's not about Independence Day, it might be about transformation, but I would like to distinguish amongst that group of British colleagues, in particular Andrew Bailey, who has mastered the consumed art of saying nothing for 3 days, and for that I would like to congratulate you. So thank you to all of you. You're now free to do whatever you care to do, and we are all seeing each other for an exciting dinner that our friend Mario Centeno has organized for us. And Mario, thank you for your hospitality and your beautiful Sintra one more time. It's been a joy. Thank you, Mario.
Bueno, pues termina la comparecencia de Lagarde, finaliza también, por tanto, Sintra, el foro de bancos centrales organizado por el BCE, termina además ahora con una cena organizada por el Banco de Portugal. Seguiremos muy pendientes de lo que puede dar de sí todo ello, aunque ya saben que no vamos a tener más comparecencias a lo largo de la tarde. Termina Christine Lagarde también haciendo referencia al hecho de que está ahí Andrew Bailey, el gobernador del Banco de Inglaterra, que mañana tienen una tarea muy importante que hacer los británicos, y dice: has conseguido estar 3 días sin decir absolutamente nada y te felicito por ello, dice Christine Lagarde a Andrew Bailey, por el hecho de que no se le ha escuchado a Andrew Bailey, cosa que podía haber afectado a los mercados y quizá también a las elecciones. Bueno, pues con esto nosotros terminamos esta conexión, pero ya saben que enseguida, en unos 15 minutitos, estamos de vuelta en Negocios Televisión, en el canal principal, para contarles qué está pasando con los mercados.